Now, all this week, Channel 4 News is touring Britain to test the strength of the economic recovery. We are travelling from the southern tip of England to the north and then up into Scotland as Channel 4 News pops up in your area. Today, Jackie and the team are in Middlesbrough. And over to Jackie now.
Welcome to the northeast of England, to the town of Middlesbrough, beneath the mighty Transporter Bridge, a symbol of the steely resolve of the northeast. And the region's needed plenty of that over the years. It's the latest in our Channel 4 News pop-up week. We're going from Cornwall to Scotland via Swindon and Cumbria to hear the issues that our viewers have told us are the stories we should cover. And there's one issue above all that unites Britons this August. That's concern over the recovery. How real is it? How and whether that recovery will bring jobs and growth in the places that need it most. Places like here, Middlesbrough. Our economics editor Faisal Islam has spent much of the past week here. If the green shoots are real, can they take root in the northeast?
It is the unmistakable landscape of old-school British industry. The famous steel plants and chemical works on Teesside. Both have had setbacks and shutdowns, but the steel plant is now at record production with output exported to Thailand, and new green power plants are planned here. Scarce government industrial money is helping. Is this recovery, and will it help actual Teessiders? Deindustrialisation still casts a long shadow in this area. Middlesbrough, one of the country's worst unemployment black spots. Male unemployment is the second worst in the country. Overall levels of unemployment 2.5 times the national average. Yet even here, there have been a few hundred jobs created over the past year. The question, what sort of jobs and for whom? This is a small success for new industry. Reshoring manufacturing in Britain. Parts for oil rigs that used to be made in India, now made in Britain again. We're also inventing new types of shock-proof metal box. But jobs? At Henry Williams, they say in order to meet sudden surges in demand in a modern economy, new jobs have been temporary and agency-based.
The business wouldn't be here if we had to take everybody on permanently. Yeah. No matter how short a period of time we needed them for. Yeah. But we wouldn't be here if we did everything on a temporary basis. Sure. We have a mix now. The mix at the moment, we have 4 agency out of 90. Yeah. In March, we had 50 agency, out of 130. Yeah. So it works both ways. Yeah.
But it's enabling you to do things like trying to reshore manufacturing. Yep. You wouldn't be able to contemplate that?
No, it's enabling us to try things.
Anyone getting carried away with the state of Britain's recovery should come and spend a half hour or so at a job centre like this in Middlesbrough, where there are long queues, a handful of security guards, anger and disillusionment at the failure of Britain's jobs market.
The staff have to put up with numerous complaints, like people coming in on drugs, drink haven't been paid, and the abuse that they have to put up with on a daily basis is disgraceful.
All the Polish and that, man, waiting for like pennies and that, man, absolute pennies. So like they're not taking on us British lads no more, they're just taking on the bulls because it's cheaper, isn't it?
I can't provide for my family properly, it's horrible. Can't get them the things that they want. And it's just horrible.
Back at the factory, an employer explains his difficulty. There is something going wrong, that there's like loads of unemployed kids in the locality, and yet in companies like this, they can't see, there's like a brick wall, basically.
There is absolutely a brick wall. The kids, when they leave school, have no craft and no inclination. That not only are we training them the craft and the business, we're also training them to come to work.
Molly's been trained in this for some time now.
At Redcar and Cleveland College, they're preparing for a new wave of training to get young people back into work. They're trying to break down that brick wall of young people having no experience but needing experience to get on the jobs ladder.
Sometimes you're getting callbacks, you're applying for so many jobs, you get a call back and you forgot what job it is that you applied for. So you end up going to the interview thinking, what is this for? I'm not quite sure.
I applied for a job and within a minute I had an automatically generated response that had sort of, "Dear Misha, you haven't been successful," and that came like instantly, so I knew it wasn't like sort of a person reading it.
Not having a human actually read CVs is now standard practice. At Biometric in Middlesbrough, they do bother to get a real person to sift through the hundreds of applications they receive for their manufacturing jobs.
as a young man myself, when I was around, there was plenty of jobs. Them jobs have gone now. That's what I'm trying to recreate again. But trying to create the jobs is very hard.
What happened when you put up a vacancy?
579 applicants for a semi-skilled job.
One job?
Yes.
What were they saying?
Just a basic job. We had to whittle it down, which we did, but 579, I applied for that one job. What chance have they got?
Steve Mills needs staff to commercialise and produce his invention for the global foundry business. He's vowed to try to get as many of these jobs to often overlooked locals, the sons and daughters of Teesside's manufacturing workforce. Lee Williamson was the worker selected for this vacancy.
I couldn't believe I'd got the job out of that many people, do you know what I mean? When I first come for the interview and they said there was that many people, I thought, my God, as if I've actually would have whittled me down. And then obviously when I got asked to come back, it was like such a shock, do you know what I mean? And it just sort of made me feel a lot better about myself after having a lot of rejection and not hearing back from companies.
So will this recovery deliver beyond Lee, across Teesside? If the recovery is based on house prices and consumer debt, that's going to be no good to this region because it was no good even during the boom. What Teesside needs is rebalancing of the economy and reindustrialisation, because that'll mean re-employment of its people. The scars of decades of economic failure have never fully healed here. So there's an understandable anxiety that even in a recovery, the many here could be left behind.